Shewani Bide is the CEO at Budget, and he's here with me in the studios to talk about the first 365 days of Godwin Emefiele. Of course, with all the political transitions, that's almost missed a piece of news item. All eyes sort of shifted from the central bank to the villa, where there's a change of guards across board. So, but Emefiele has been 1 year in office, and we're trying to take a look at what's been done and what's left to be achieved. Sheon, good morning. Thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, nice
we
to
appreciate
be here.
that.
Okay.
Sorry for, despite the very short notice, you were able to make this for us. 1 year ago, we were at this point when there were a lot of discussions about the character, the nature of Godwin Emefiele coming in from Zenith Bank as a CEO, a commercial banker, all his career and what have you. And there were a lot of discussion about what's the nature. Will it be dovish? Will it be hawkish? Looking back, the 365 days, talk to us a little bit about this in perspective.
Yeah, in perspective, the whole last 1 year, I would sum it up, it's been a firefighting exercise because coming in, there were a lot of challenges, and as raised by the former CBN governor, which is Malam Sanusi Lamido, around the accountability in the oil and gas industry, which in the end, if you look at the fiscal part of the governance, it affects also the monetary part strongly. And he was already talking about a lot of things like that. So he came in, and more of it is still about how do you ensure that, and it's been very unfortunate somehow that because oil prices have dipped down, but it's also been about able to keep inflation to within the single-digit level rate. And but most importantly, the external reserves shot down from $36 billion when it was in to $29 billion now, and also he also been struggling also to keep the exchange rate stable. Within his tenure already, we have devalued the naira twice. The WDAS and the HARDAS has been cancelled, and then we have CBN coming with intervention in the oil and gas and in the interbank market. So clearly, I would say it's more about keeping things just on a stable level, not about putting forward another exciting or grand vision.
Well, managing what he inherited.
What he
in
inherited.
the manner of speaking.
Yeah,
okay, we'll get back to you. Let's take this a conversation via telephone with Bismarck Rwani, who is the CEO at a financial derivatives company. Mr. Rwani, good morning to you, and thanks for joining this conversation.
Yeah.
Okay. We had this conversation yesterday a little bit, and looking at 365 days of Godwin Emefiele. You remember he inherited the central bank that time, 365 days ago, that was pretty much in the news because the outgoing, or the then governor of the central bank, now the emir of Kano, Lamido Sanusi, was in the news for a number of reasons, including 20 billion missing dollars missing in the NNPC and things like that. Talk to us 1 year after, in perspective, looking at Emefiele's tenure.
Well, Emefiele came in to fill very big shoes. The shoes of Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, one of the most articulate and sophisticated central bank governors that we ever had. But having said that, he came in and we have to evaluate him against certain parameters. In terms of inflation, I think inflation has been stable and has actually been managed comfortably in the period. The external reserves have actually depleted quite sharply. It has come from $42 billion all the way to $29 billion. It has been used to defend the currency. The exchange rate has been adjusted twice, one from 155 to 168 and 168 to 199. The market has been desegmented, so it's a much more efficient foreign exchange market. More important is the area in which we look forward to immediate intervention is in the cashless initiative, which was one of the most groundbreaking initiatives started by Sanusi Lamido Sanusi. I think that, and I believe that Godwin Emefiele now has to take the cashless policy and implement it and make it extremely aggressive. That way, it will reduce the amount of load burning and all that nonsense that is being mentioned, and which basically, spoiling the name of the central bank for a pittance. So I think that all said, it's been a good performance, but it needs to focus on the cashless Nigeria and make it countrywide. That way we'll know that we can feel the impact. And also we expect the central bank to be more autonomous, more independent of the executive arm of government.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Bismarck Rwanda. We thank you for your thoughts and sharing that with us, despite your busy schedule there. Today's LBS breakfast briefing. We just pulled you out of that. We appreciate your time. Shawani Bide, CEO at Budget, is still here with us. Very quickly, do you think that Emefiele will be as controversial as the immediate past CBN chief?
I don't think so. If you look at his posturing in the last 1 year, it doesn't look like someone who's going to bring in controversy. But you also, you need some bit of iron fist when it comes to the Nigerian government. I hope General Buhari or President Buhari will be a departure of what we had in the past. We should also understand that 90% of our foreign exchange earnings come from oil. So the governance in that sector is critical into how the CBN, to the dollar receipts into the economy, and how the CBN can even safeguard the economy. Even most of the imports, we are making most of the dollar for demand for import. It's also tied to oil based on imported fuel. So those two key issues are very critical to the central bank governor. So if you have a central bank governor who keeps quiet in that space when things are not going right, he will also have to share part of the blame. I think maybe Emir Sanusi Lamido may have spoken too late, but the question of the matter is, there were a period of time where we could have fixed those spaces, stopped the attrition that we had in terms of revenue that was supposed to come into government to the dollar receipt, and so we have a more robust external reserves. But on the long run, things even around for subsidy theft, we're filtering our reserve for foreign import, and at the end of the day, it comes back to us, because now, even if you look at the Obasanjo regime, where we talked about, we had $62 billion in foreign exchange, in the foreign external reserves. A larger chunk of that was the excess crude oil account, which is also part of that, of the external reserves. Now the external reserves is 29 billion. $2 billion is part of, is just what is the excess crude account. So the question is, if we also don't fix the governance, and which is also where he also needs to speak more, and we don't know who's going to be the finance minister. We also have not, the economic blueprint of this new government is not yet fully clear to everybody. But the question is, we need governance rightly in that space.
Emefiele his tenure will straggle into administrations. The outgone Jonathan's and PDP's administration, and the incoming Buhari's APC's administration. So he spent 1 year in Jonathan's administration. Now he's going to spend the next 4 years in the Buhari's administration. Are there learning curves, as it were, for Emefiele from the immediate past to the present and moving forward that he would need to bring to bear on how monetary policy is being churned out and implemented?
I would say two things. The first thing I would say is the CBN stops being an undertaker for industries. We have had issues where an industry gets ailing, and we have its power, its agric, it's aviation tomorrow, and tomorrow it's airline business, and CBN starts injecting funds, start doing intervention funds, and then at the end of the day, there's not even a clear mechanism of repayment, or maybe even we have ended up even subsidizing even the banking industry through Ancom and the rest like that. So we need also to be very clear with the mandate of the CBN to stop being undertaker to these industries. I'm sure one of the policy leads for APC, Dr. Fayemi, said that once, that we need to also ensure that the CBN itself stays with its mandate, price, and the financial stability, price stability and financial stability. We must stay with that. And most importantly, and if it's going to make us, it has to be more vocal and more interested in the governance of those two things I've said: the oil and gas industry, the petroleum subsidy regime. I'm sure it's clear to most of us now that the subsidy should go, but we need better governance in that space first before we even get the government to understand that it should go. So he has to take that. The second thing about it is also the CBN. If you look at the Federal Reserve of the United States, it's clear in its mandate that it is meant to ensure full employment in the United States. That is the key underlying goal. Now we talk about price stability. We need to tie that into the society itself. How do we push issues, our policies, that ensures that we have a better and a sustainable society? If you go to CBN's website, the vision for 2015 says, apart from the price and the financial system stability, we want to have a sustainable economic development. Great idea, great lofty vision, but the reality is that we must show that interest rates cannot be as high as this in this economy, and we also want to have asset creation. We are also, this SME businesses are not getting the support. We should understand that for the big ticket transaction, they gave a whole lot of concessions, but for the small SME business that want to thrive in this environment. So if you look at it, if you tick up the boxes, exchange rate maybe not the best, but is in line with the circumstance that we have found ourselves and how we have been wasteful in the past. If you look at the inflation, it's been great, single digit. We've been trying to manage the whole impact of whatever it's been. But on the interest rate angle, we have still running high interest rate for the economy that wants to grow or that wants to expand credit to entrepreneurs. We need to check that strongly.
So how should Emefiele proceed in 2015, 2016? Will that be contingent upon what his new boss, President Muhammadu Buhari, say and do?
Yeah, because if you look at Buhari, if the APC manifesto talks about they want to create jobs, they want to support SMEs, and these are grand, lofty goals. We wouldn't expect in the line of the current realities and the kind of the current price challenges, the revenue challenges, that we are facing. You don't expect federal government to be doling out money.
So in terms of if the incoming administration, if I cut in there, from the manifestos, from all that the posturings during the campaigns is put on the table, would Emefiele need a new set of monetary policies tools to address this?
Yeah, we need a new monetary policies. And the two things he's been fighting strongly, the exchange rate and liquidity with the CRR that we have been going back and forth, and now finally we are at parity at the private and the public sector level. But most importantly, like I said, the underlying goal for all of this is to ensure that we have price stability first. And secondly, he also needs to ensure that the monetary policy are targeted at improving, at expanding credit in the economy at a sustainable level. That has to be very, very critical because we cannot diverge the financial system from how we create a sustainable society. So if it takes up all these actions, we can support 6 schemes that we build up. How can we incentivize banks to also look through more lending at a better rate or a cheaper rate? We have banks declaring good profit these days, but the reality is we still don't have that enough support for the small businesses. And I think that should be its focus going forward.
All right. Thank you very much, Sean. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Very interesting conversation today.
Thank you so much.
We hope to see more of you on the program.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we'll be back after the break. We'll talk about the reports talking about the rocky road ahead for Nigeria. That was a report out last Tuesday, or that's last week Tuesday to be more precise, from PricewaterhouseCoopers Nigeria. The chief economist is here with us to talk to us on that. That's coming right after the break.